Hello and welcome to my channel, Talisman Tarot. In this reading I want to ask the cards and Spirit directly through channeling about your mission here on Earth. And I have 7 groups that you can choose from. This will be group number 1, this will be group number 2, this will be group number 3, this will be group number 4, this will be group number 5, this will be group number 6, and this will be group number 7. And so I will ask you to use your intuition and choose the group that speaks to you the most, the group that catches your eye, and that group will be your group. And if you need any more time to choose, you can always pause the video, but if you don't need any more time, I'll just move on to the reading. Hello, group number 1. You chose these Yolanda tarot cards, and so I will start with some channeling and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So, okay, group number 1. Spirit, what is group number 1's mission here on Earth? I am getting something about recreating something from the past, something that has already been created before, but something that might have been forgotten, or like I think you're supposed to bring new life into something from the past, something old from the past, something. It might not have been forgotten, but maybe it has changed so much throughout the years that it's kind of unrecognizable to this day. Like today, it's not to this day, but today it's it's unrecognizable from what it used to be. It's something like I think your mission here on Earth is to take something that has changed a lot throughout the years and try to change it back to its original form. So this kind of makes me think of religion, but it could be something else as well. It can be something, I don't know, but I do think of religion right now, like maybe, like for instance, Christianity. Christianity has changed a lot throughout the years. It used to be, the Christians used to be more fearful of God in the past, and that has changed quite drastically now, like where Christianity is more soft and less fearful, and also more inclusive, and that's not a bad thing, but in that I like by the way, I like that the church has become more inclusive, but I also see that maybe by being inclusive there might have been made some compromises that has made the Christian faith a bit different from what it was originally, and I can see how maybe it could be good to try to change it back to how it originally was. But this could also be about something different, something else here. I'm also getting something about mistranslation. So this could be mistranslation of religious texts. It could also be mistranslations of other texts. it doesn't have to be religious ones. But I think one of your missions could also be to fix a mistranslation of something, an old text that was mistranslated, and so it's your mission to kind of find that text and try to translate it better. So there could be some translation work that you need to do, or recreating something from the past, taking something from the past, and maybe also, like, the Bible has been translated numerous times throughout the years, and like every few years there's a new translation of the Bible, and that's a process that exists because the church want the lingo to be more modern, so that it's more inclusive, so that more people can understand the Bible, and so the church comes out with new translations every few years. And of course, when we become inclusive in our language, like in our translations, where we try to find words that might not be completely close to the original words that were used, but more understandable to the modern people, the people who will read this in the modern days, and then in the inclusiveness kind of takes away from the original faith. I'm just getting that that you have a mission to change something back. I got kind of like this image in my head of like lemons that have been turned to lemonade, and it's it's your purpose to kind of get it back to its original form, like taking away all the sugar that has been added into the lemonade to create the lemonade, that you need to extract the sugar out of it in order to get the original sourness and bitterness of the lemons, and make it more. This could also be about, if it's not about religion and old texts and translation work and stuff like that, it could also be about getting humanity back to the roots, like, or also in the way of how we eat, like getting like changing our diets to a more to match up more with the original diet, like before processing, before we started eating processed foods, before we started eating too much sugar and stuff like that. And so maybe there's also something about trying to change things back to how it was before we started adding stuff into the food, and before we started adding sugar to everything, before that. But yeah, there is something about getting something back to its original form, taking knowledge from the past and using it today, trying to relearn something from the past where we might have steered too much away from the original path or something like that. There could also be something about ancient medicine, taking knowledge from the ancient civilizations and using that knowledge today, using what the ancient civilizations used as medicine, like trying that sort of thing out in the modern day to see if they had if we can use some of that wisdom today, and like something about getting back to. There's also like something about archaeology and maybe you should study archaeology or theology or language, like linguistics or religious studies or anthropology. Something where you look back to some ancient civilizations, try to use possibly that knowledge to understand ourselves better, like maybe also finding the key to understanding existence, understanding some of the deeper existential questions, maybe getting some answers to existential questions by going back to see if the answers lie in some old texts or something like that. I think you're just supposed to learn from the past. Like, you're maybe not supposed to like your mission here on Earth is maybe not to create something completely new. Like, you're not supposed to invent the wheel or like something like that, but you're supposed to take something from the past that has been forgotten or that has changed so much that it's unrecognizable and try to change it back and then take knowledge from it. So in kind of reinventing something that has already been invented, but reinventing it and using it in a different way, and implementing it into modern society. So yeah, very interesting. So I want to shuffle the cards now to see what your what your mission here on Earth is. Group number 1. Okay, the Devil, interesting. This is one of my favorite illustrations of the Devil. Like I haven't seen any other tarot decks use the actual scene from the Old Testament, the Adam and Eve scene, as using it to illustrate the Devil. But this really makes me think that you're supposed to take some old text, like that's because it's an old text. It's from the Old Testament. It's the Adam and Eve story. In my opinion, the Adam and Eve story is like the most fascinating, interesting story there is. Like I've used many days and months and like weeks, and that was kind of a weird. But I've used a lot of time. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I've used a lot of time to interpret the Adam and Eve story, and it's, in my opinion, full of full of Easter eggs in a way. To use a modern term for it, there are many interesting things that you can. There are so many aspects of it. If you translate it from Hebrew, there are a lot of Easter eggs that you can investigate, because there are so many words that have different meanings, and you can, if you want to be like a nerd and do this, then you can like see it as a puzzle, where you take all the words and you kind of see all the find all the different meanings of every single word, and you try to puzzle them together, like trying to see if if you change the meaning of this word into that word instead, and then put it into the puzzle, will that make it will that change the outcome of it? And it's a very interesting, like, because like the Old Testament is so interesting because it's written in Hebrew. It's written in a simple, not simple, but simple language, where there are very few words in the Old Testament compared to the New Testament, and the reason why there aren't that many words in there is because there are many words that are repeated again and again and again, and so. If I remember correctly, like there are kind of as many different words, like there are in the Old Testament as there is in the New Testament, but the Old Testament is very much longer than the New Testament. So but it gives so much room for interpretations, because every one of these words that are repeated throughout the Old Testament, they are all used in different ways throughout the Old Testament. So so there are like endless amounts of interpretations. So it's really open to interpretation, and that is kind of how the word comes to life. I believe is when we can interpret everything out of like it. Yeah, but nonetheless, like what I was trying to say before I started this whole thing was that I think you're supposed to look back at some old texts and interpret them and translate them and see different opportunities for different translations, and yeah, look back to old texts to gain knowledge about some of the new things, in like trying to understand the modern problems using old problems to see if like how did they solve certain things, and can we actually use the same ways that they solved it? Can we use those to this today? Like, and of course, not in the Adam and Eve story. There aren't really any solutions in that, but there are certain keys to understanding time, to understanding memory, to understanding various things. So I definitely also think you should look up some occult texts, some esoteric texts, some hermetic texts. Also, I think you should look into Kabbalah, and probably also the link, also using the Kabbalah as the key to Genesis. There is a book about that, about using Kabbalah as the key to understanding Genesis. It's a really interesting book, and like you can probably find it by Googling it, like Googling Kabbalah and Genesis together, and then it probably comes up. There are probably other books. There are probably a lot of books about this subject, but maybe looking into that could be. Maybe that could be the key. But also, maybe you also need to rediscover something about time, and probably maybe also about memory, about how the memory is stored inside the subconscious mind until it's paired with another memory that causes it to live in the conscious mind. And that's a love story of the memory. But also maybe like if this has nothing to do with religious text, if you don't have any interest in religious texts or old texts or anything like that, it could also have something to do with fruit here, like getting people to eat more fruit or eat more like we used to do it before everything got processed, as I said before, and all of that. And but with the Empress here, this is kind of interesting. So I think your mission here on Earth is also to reproduce and recreate. So recreation, that was also the thing I was talking about before. So maybe your mission is also to give birth, and that is the mission of most of us. So that it doesn't come as so much of a surprise to me. But of course, if you're a male watching, which I guess there are probably a few males out there watching, so if that's the case, this card could indicate something about, well, it could be recreation in the way that I talked about before, taking something from the past, giving it new life, taking something mundane from the past, and maybe implementing it into modern life in some way where yeah, I don't know, but there's also something about maybe following in your mother's footsteps in some way. There might be something your mother has done that you need to finish, something that your mother has started that you might be that you might have the mission to follow through with. And of course, if you're a male, recreation as like, of course, you can't give birth, but you can plant the seed in someone else. So your mission can still be to have children, even though you're a male, because of course, why shouldn't you be able to do that? Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, I want to shuffle some more cards though, just to see if there's something more here for you. Okay, with King of Wands reversed, I think some of you might have a mission to change our way, the way we look at the gender, understanding the gender, understanding gender roles, gender identity, maybe also debunking some myths or some understanding that we have of the past, like of ancient civilizations. For instance, like there is some misconception that back in the ancient civilizations, the women were suppressed, and you can find many different texts that say otherwise. And so also maybe finding back to the truth, some truth that from the past that has been changed, making some discoveries about some women from the past as well, like also women from the Bible, from Old Testament especially. It's not like the Old Testament, like that. It's not like it's not sexist. It is. It's not as sexist as the New Testament, but it is still sort of sexist. But we are not like, I did read something about this once, and there are certain, it seems as if there are women who were in power, but in the Old Testament there were, for instance, the there was a priest who got leprosy, and so the wife took over, but people believe that the wife probably took over, even though it's not completely said. It's hinted towards, they hint to it in one passage, that she was sort of in power at the time, but there is very little written about it. And so the history, of course, is written by men, and so the reason why the women in power is not like, it's not that women weren't in power at the time, it's just that the men didn't write about it, and if they did write about it, it's not likely that those texts survived. So because men have always had a tendency to rewrite history and change the facts, and take some old texts and burn them if they didn't if they didn't follow the narrative that they wanted it to. Like if it didn't have, if it didn't make them look good, like, or if it was considered harmful in some way to make it seem as if women had power, and so it maybe you also need, maybe this is your mission as well, I don't know, but and I don't know if I'm just talking about something that doesn't interest you at all, but maybe some of you have a mission to find out more about some females in history that have been cut out of history, and maybe try to investigate and see if you can find something about it. So I don't know, but what I'm getting at here is that you're supposed to do something where you're supposed to discover something from the past, and yeah, I think that's your mission. So I think that's all I have for you, group number 1. I hope this reading was somewhat helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 2. You chose the Hermetic Tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling, and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So, okay, group number 2. The people who will choose group number 2. What's their mission here on Earth? I heard something about being a saint, or not that your mission is to be a saint, but I think you're supposed to guide people to the right way of being. Like, you're supposed to show people the way, and mostly through kindness, I think, like showing people a good example, being a good example for others, possibly also teaching others the right way, like showing people the right way, being a role model to others, and also just sharing your, I think you have a lot of compassion for other people, and I think you also have a really good moral compass where you have a sense of justice, you have a sense of what's right, and also fairness. You have a natural sense of what's fair, like morality and ethics, and how to act in the right way, where you're not hurting anyone, I'm also getting something about teaching others to be kind to each other, like teaching others to have responsibility to each other, like teaching people to have responsibility, to earn up to their responsibilities, not acting selfishly, not acting in a way where they like. I'm also getting something about consequences, like teaching people that their actions have consequences, even if those consequences aren't instantly coming up, like for instance, taking like giving advice to criminals, like lecturing criminals in a way where you can make them understand that even if they get away with the crime, there are still consequences for their actions. Like I am getting just that your mission is to do some work that helps people understand that they have responsibilities, that they are responsible for their own actions, and that there are consequences, and that people need to own up to those consequences, even though the consequences aren't like affecting them. Then their actions still have consequences for other people, and even though those consequences are not felt by them, they have still caused other people harm, and so therefore they need to own up to that, the fact that they caused other people harm. I am really getting that you have a course here to make some major work that has to do with teaching ethics and teaching moral, maybe like, and you can do this through different, like there are different, I see that there are different ways you can do this, and so of course there are different paths to different people, and you are like, there are more people who are like watching this, and so there are of course different paths here. I see that for some of you the path could be to write a book about it, like write a philosophy book, an ethics book about responsibilities and consequences. And actions and consequences, the link between actions and consequences that seems to be lost in modern society, and maybe also doing some kind of research work, some study about this, where you try to maybe find reasons why this is what could be causing this today, like something about that. But I'm also getting that you could like directly help people by becoming a lawyer, where you try to make justice, where you try to give people consequences for their actions, where you try to get people to go to jail for their crimes and stuff like that. So working as a lawyer could be a good path for you as well, for some of you. And like another path could also be to to work as a therapist or a counselor or a priest, where you work in the prison, or work in like for instance in the prison where you have some therapy sessions with criminals and try to make them understand where it went wrong and where their mindset might have caused them to not understand this link between action and consequences, where this detachment from themselves and the actions, where that might have started, or why they see their actions as not a part of their character, but as like a separate thing, even though they acted, even though they were the active part of that happening. Why do they not see them as a part of that action? Could it be something from the past that made them detach from their actions, where or whatever? And also, like there is this. This is something I've noticed as well. Like this is maybe my own personal opinion, so it might not have anything to do with this. But I think we as a society kind of went wrong when we started to have too much sympathy for criminals, where, of course, criminals do need sympathy. I get that. We should be, but there is this thing where we have made criminals feel better by saying, oh, they are not their crime. They shouldn't criminals shouldn't let their crime define them as a person, and that's kind of a way to help them get back to society after being in prison. Like after they've been in prison, then they come back to the society, and a way to cope with being in prison for so long is to try to detach from the crime, and trying to tell themselves that, oh, I am much more than the crime I did, and that shouldn't define me as a person. I can actually move forward in life without having this thing that keeps me down, like holds me down. But and I get that. Of course, we sometimes it's good to detach from some of our unfortunate actions in order to move on in life. Sometimes we need to do that, but maybe this has caused a bit of a weird understanding in certain criminals that keep on doing crimes over and over again, where they have kind of detached themselves from their actions. And I know this. I have one experience with this. There was a person in my life a few years ago who raped me, and this person was someone who had done crimes in the past. This person had been in prison or in juvie in the past, and they were in juvie because they had punched a social worker in the face, and he served for that crime, and when he then raped me, like we talked afterwards, so like it was a weird thing, but I talked to him afterwards, and he was actually, like, he was sad about what happened. He was sad that that the rape happened, but somehow he had detached himself from that, and like he felt kind of like he was the victim as well. Like I was a victim to his crime, but he was also a victim to his own crime, because in a way he had detached so much from his own actions that he felt like a victim to his own actions as well. Like he didn't have any control over it, so he was also it was also bad for him. Like it wasn't like so some, and I think, like, if I look back at it, I think it might be because he actually because he had been in prison and probably had heard that narrative, heard that from the people working in the prisons, that he had to detach himself from his actions in a way in order to get back into society. Like so he was probably, like, of course I don't know this, but I do have my suspicion that he probably was told that he wasn't his crime, like that he had to start thinking of himself as like a separate person than the crime he had committed, in order to cope with having done that. And that I think made him continue to do crime, because then his actions were not his actions. He was separated from his actions. And so I don't know, like, this is just speculations, but I think it is kind of a problem we have in the system, that we kind of make people detach a bit from their actions. And I think maybe your mission is to make people understand that they are their actions, that they are not separated from their actions, that they are in control of their actions, that we all as people are in control over our own actions. There is no such thing as just doing something accidentally. Like, there are no accidents. Like, if we are actually the person acting, if we make an active choice to do something, it can't be considered an accident, because even though we might be out of our mind while we do it, or if we are driven by impulses when we do it, it's still us doing it. We can't just separate ourselves from our actions in that way, it's not healthy either. We need to own up to our own actions, even if we were driven by impulses. That's also something that we then need to change, to and work really hard to change. Like we need to see that as a problem that we have, that we have to change, and work really hard to change. And it can't be just like a free pass where, I'm just an impulsive person, so I'm just going to continue doing impulsive things because I'm impulsive as a person, and I'm not going to change that thing about me, so I'm just going to keep doing it like that. It doesn't fly. Like we can't just say that. So especially when our actions hurt other people, then of course we are either supposed to stay in jail or stay in prison, or change our mindset, our personality in a way. Like if this is a personality trait that we have, then we need to change it. It's not, But okay, I'm getting way, like, sorry if I am talking about something that doesn't really interest you at all, but I think your mission is to sort of put some sense back into people's brains, like make people I think you have a very rational way of looking at life. I think your way of perceiving life is very much like you're very rational, very logical, very but also emotional and compassionate and sympathetic and empathetic, but still I think you have a way of looking at things just the way they are, like cutting through all the bullshit and just think like, this is the problem, this is what we need to fix as a society. I think you could I think you're really good at finding the things that's wrong with society and trying to change that. So I think your mission is to change the way we look at certain things. Certain things that might have become normal, abnormal things that might have become normal for some reason. And yeah, there's also something about teaching as well. Maybe you could also do a lot of good by simply becoming a teacher and teaching young children, and maybe trying to fix the problem that way by taking the young children and teaching them this from an early age, and that's also very important to do. So it's and maybe that's actually the best way of doing it, is to not like maybe a lot of people are like lost causes now. Like it's hard to change people who have already lost all rationality. Like it's better to take young children and sculpture them and change their mindset and make them understand that their actions have consequences and that they should treat others with the same respect that they want from other people as well. Like that yeah. So I think you could do good as a teacher as well. With 5 of Swords, I think your mission is also to help the victims of those kinds of people that I've described before, and so maybe helping people who has been wrongly or has been been victims of people who might have raped them, or so helping rape victims or victims of crimes. Maybe you're a victim of crime too. Maybe you have a story as well, and so maybe you can help people by sharing your story and making people feel like they aren't alone in the world, that there are more people with the same experiences as them, and so maybe sharing your story could really help. And so maybe that's also your mission. With 6 of Wands reversed, I think you might also have a mission to break down the law system in a way where I'm kind of almost thinking of anarchy, and that's very extreme, but it might be like for some of you it might be the only solution to stopping crime from happening, is to break it down in order to build it up again. I don't know if that's bad advice, but or if it's wrong, but I am thinking of some kind of switching, giving the law back to people, giving back justice to people, where people are able to have to not take justice in their own hands, but have a say in how the justice system should be working, like how giving back some, giving people a voice, giving the people a voice. Like I think it's because the 6 of Wands, when it's upright, it's about someone who's on a horse, in the Rider-Waite at least. It's illustrated as someone up on a horse and looking down on the people who are underneath him, and so he's kind of on a pedestal, and the others are following him, And so he's a leader. And when it's reversed, I think it's kind of, maybe your mission is to give leadership back to the people, giving people the rights of, and giving people a say in how the justice system works. Like, yeah, so there's something about giving people a voice, and letting people have a say in what happens to them, and also maybe giving a platform to the people so that the people can share their stories and be heard. And so, and with the Four of Cups, I think it's reversed as well. So I think there is something about, about, this card is about saying no. And reversed, I think, okay, that's kind of saying, okay, so when it's upright, it's about saying no, and that's kind of how our society thinks of, for instance, like rape cases where you have to say no. If you didn't say no, it's not. Then it's okay that someone raped you. Because then you were your consent is the fact that you didn't say no. It's not that. And so with this being upright, I think it's about the fact that it's not like women shouldn't, or also men get raped too, I know, but that it's not about saying no, it's about saying yes. Like if you can't rape someone unless they say yes, like unless they give consent. Like they shouldn't just it shouldn't just rely on them saying no to that, but also that and so yeah, something about consent, giving consent, and maybe changing the law of consent, and in those kinds of cases, and that, like, yeah, that you shouldn't, that you can't use it, that you shouldn't be able to use it as an argument, that, oh yeah, but she didn't say no, well, but did she say yes? So like, if she didn't say yes, if she didn't like make it known that, like, I don't know, but there is something about maybe changing some way of looking at some crimes, but also maybe also changing the narrative of people being that people are this victim blaming thing, where we blame the victim, where we say that, oh, the person was that it was okay that the person was raped or whatever because they dressed in a certain way, or also like in other cases where, like, for instance, in other kinds of crime as well, like breaking and entering, if someone doesn't lock their door, then they are basically just asking for people to break into their house. Whereas, like, where is the trust? Where is the natural trust in people? Why should we sacrifice? Why should we sacrifice our natural trust in our neighbor just because? Like, why we shouldn't change our behavior in order to like, so that the worst case scenario doesn't happen to us. Like, we should be able to trust each other. And breaking and entering, like, if you don't lock your door, that is not an invitation to get a thief into your house. But that is how it is today. Like, if you get if a thief breaks into your house, then you are to blame if you didn't lock the door, and so you're basically not a victim because you put that on yourself. And so when, of course, like, the thief is still a thief, even, and it's still a crime, but just because it was easy for the thief, it doesn't make them but it shouldn't be it shouldn't be a crime to trust people. Like, it shouldn't be like, also people who get scammed. Like, we have this tendency as a society to look down on these people because they should have known that the Nigerian prince wasn't a real Nigerian prince. Like, they should have known, but some people don't. Like, some old people might never have heard of that scam, and so when they get an email from them, they might believe it because they have no reason to not believe it. And many of us wouldn't believe it because we already know about the scam. Like, we have heard about it so many times, but we can't expect other people to know the same information as we do. Like, and we can't discriminate people just by knowing less information than us. Like, because before we knew this information, we were clueless as well. And so, so there is also this thing where we should stop. We should stop victim blaming altogether. Also, stop victim blaming people who get scammed by Nigerian princes. Even though we might, like, we should stop being judgmental towards that, because we should we should still remember that the person who is to blame for this is not the person who got scammed, it's the scammer. And we should criminalize the scammer, and we should judge the scammer, not the person who got scammed. And so I think your mission here on Earth is to do something about the way we look at victims, the changing the way we look at actions and consequences. Like that, it's not the person doing the like. Why should we? Why are we responsible for the actions of other people? Why are we responsible for getting scammed just because we didn't know better, like at the time? Like, how does that make us responsible? Isn't it still the person acting who's responsible? And so there is, I guess that I feel like that's kind of the mission here, is to change the way we look at change. I think you're supposed to change our view on something, our perception of something, and yeah, I think that's all I have for you, group number 2. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose this Tarot de Marseille tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So, okay, group number 3. People who will choose group number 3. What is group number 3's soul mission? Or not soul mission, what's their purpose here on Earth? What's their mission here on Earth? I am getting something about, now I'm tearing up, so there is something about emotions, making people tear up. Maybe your mission is to express your feelings and emotions, express them with words, through poetry, through writing, through songs, writing songs, or doing something creative like painting, or something where you can translate your feelings into art in some way, where you can move people and make people feel like you can create feelings in people, where you can where you can move people and make them tear up, and because of either the beauty, or because it resonates with them, or because it gives them associations to something, or like I think you're supposed to put into words what other people haven't been able to put into words. Like you're supposed to, I'm also getting that you're supposed to be very honest. Like you're supposed to show people your vulnerability in a very honest way, where people can resonate with it and feel like, yeah, I've been there. I know this. I know exactly how this how you feel, because I've been through the same. Like, but I think you're just supposed to like you're supposed to make art. In every kind of form, like through writing or poetry or whatever. So with Three of Pentacles reversed, I am getting that if you're thinking that you need to go back to school, or that maybe you're studying right now, or you might be thinking of dropping out of school, or then I think your mission here on Earth is not in academia. I think you could easily go that path, like go to the university and finish the university, and but I don't know if that's the path for you, because I think you could do much more. You could make a greater difference in the world by not taking that path, by doing something else, something where you create your own thing, where you start your own thing, where you're kind of a first mover, a pioneer, where you start something of your own, where you create something of your something for yourself, something that's completely yours, something that came from your brain, like a book, like writing a book, or being being an entrepreneur, or self-employed, like making your own business. But yeah, so I think you're supposed to be your own boss, and you're supposed to be free. You have to. I think you thrive in an environment where you're completely free to do whatever you want to do. Like, and I think that's also your goal. Like, I feel like right now you're kind of your biggest goal in life is to just get to a point where you're completely free to do whatever you want. And so you might be working towards that kind of freedom. And that kind of freedom is not something you will get if you choose the path of academia, where you I'm just getting that you're supposed to do something else. So because I think going back to school or staying in school would be too limiting for you. I think you're supposed to do your own research as well. Like you're supposed to read the books that you are intuitively drawn to read. Like you're not supposed to read the books that some teacher recommend you to read. Like you're supposed to read. You're supposed to find your own your own inspiration, your own inspiration, your own I think you're just supposed to find the way on your own. Like, you'll find your path on your own, and seeking out the knowledge that you want to seek out, finding the answers to the questions that you have, and not finding the questions to finding the answers to questions that other people have. Like, you're supposed to be your own boss. You're supposed to do your own study, and study on your own in some way, where you're not where you're not chained to a teacher. Be your own master. I think you're supposed to be your own teacher. You're supposed to be your own master. You're supposed to find out the answers on your own, and I think your mission on Earth is kind of individualistic. It's kind of very much your own mission. Like, you're supposed to do things in a bit of a selfish way, where you think where you do only what you are intuitively guided to do, where you don't listen to other people, where you don't take advice from other people, where you don't allow other people to help you. And that is kind of a very lonely path, and it can be very frustrating, but I think it's what you're supposed to do, because I think you're very guided. You're a guided person. You're a very intuitive person, and this is the path for you, the path of the hermit, where you're supposed to your path is supposed to be you and the spirit guiding you, and you're supposed to just follow the inspiration that you get from spirit, and when you're and this path, this hermit path, will end up with where you will end up with an end result after this. Like, you will have some kind of product after this, where you have something to show for the world, something that you found out in this hermit on this hermit path, some kind of maybe a book, maybe poetry, maybe some kind, like, you will have a product that you then can put out to the world, and then people will be very moved by it, and it will affect a lot of people, and it will make people it will change a lot of people's perception of the world, and so it will be selfish in the beginning, but at some point it will actually turn to a very selfless thing, where you actually will provide something to the world, where you will move a lot of people, and so you will give back to the world. So it's not it will feel like a selfish path in the beginning, but I think you will you just have to you have to go through that step in order to change the world. I am seeing that it's kind of a lonely path, but it is an important path, because of the Knight of Cups reversed as well. I think, like, you're not you have a bigger mission here in life. You have a mission to produce something, to create something that will be a legacy, and it will probably be, like, if it's a book, it will be read after you die. Like it will continue on in the future, way out in the future. People will still be reading this book, and so it's a very important thing. And so maybe love and relationships are not something that can be integrated into this life, because like it can't be a priority, because I think you are very much supposed to live as a hermit in a way, at least until you create this groundbreaking thing and put it out in the world. And maybe after that you can kind of go out of this hermit life and start, until then, I think you're supposed to be quite isolated from the world in a way, where you're supposed to, not necessarily that you will be isolated, but it's just that I think you're supposed to only listen to yourself and listen to your own guidance, and not listen to other people's opinions and guidance and advice and stuff like that. You're supposed to stay true to who you are in the purest way, and the best way to do that is to go it alone, like go the path alone. With the Hierophant, I think you are supposed to. I think you are supposed to. Like you have some kind of key to. You have some kind of. You are supposed to, in a way. Create heaven on earth, or the Hierophant has the key to heaven, and like in a way when you create something, when you create art, when you create beauty, when you create something that moves people, you give them some kind of you give them a piece of paradise, in a way where you show them something that is like, maybe we are also supposed to write some kind of fantasy book, as like where you can create a world that's very different from this world, where you can create some kind of escapism, where people can escape from their boring everyday life and escape into a world of wonder, of like Harry Potter, for instance, like creating that kind of some kind of key to a different world where the reader can get consumed and like into this whole different universe where everything is where everything is filled with wonder, and everything is magical, and everything is where you can create this exciting place where people can escape to, and they can get that through a book, where they can get consumed by the stories and getting consumed by the world that the book produces in their brain. And I think you are supposed to give people something that makes them wonder, makes them believe maybe in something bigger than make people wonder if there is something out there, or if there is a higher purpose of and so also through maybe you could also do this through religion as well, like creating faith, creating spirituality, making people believe in something bigger than themselves. And like I just feel like you're supposed to expand people's minds. You're supposed to make people you're not supposed to limit, you're supposed to expand, you're supposed to also, like I said before with the freedom, this that you have this need of freedom, where like you're in need of a job where you can work freely, where everything is possible. But I think you could also, while doing that work, you can also create that or help people get to that point as well, like make other people see opportunities where they wouldn't have seen them before, and make other people wonder if maybe they can be free too, and free to do whatever they are passionate about, like maybe also making other people's dreams come true by maybe doing by inspiring people, maybe doing lectures about being an entrepreneur. Like, of course, after you have actually become that, of course, you can't really do lectures on that if you're not one. But maybe by being an example to others, like showing others, like you can actually be self-employed, you can actually create something, create a business of your own, and for instance, like I know I'm all over the place with this reading, but I see a lot of different scenarios here, and so like I see that the mission could be a lot of different things, but I think there is like a general like there is a common denominator here, and that common denominator is to create wonder, to move people, and inspire people, and that could also, like, you could also be used. Your mission could also be to be a guidance counselor and show people their opinions, their opportunities. Sorry, show people their how they can use their gifts and talents to do something productive with them, or but I'm still getting that might be too. I'm not really completely sure about that, because I think it could be too limiting for you to choose that path. I think you are supposed to do something creative, where you create something like a book, or something where, or doing YouTube videos, or creating or writing a screenplay, or writing a manuscript for a movie, or for a TV show, or something where you create something. It's and where you work creatively and do and where you can translate some idea that you might even have gotten from the spirit, like, and translating that idea into some, or making that idea into something. I don't know, but I think but the escapism, like, I think you're supposed to do something that creates some kind of escapism, where people can escape into this work that you will do in the future, where they can use it to cope with their mundane everyday life, where everything is boring and dull and grey, and then they can find comfort in some artwork that you may or may not do in the future. And even if you don't do that, like, I think your mission is to create something, whatever it is. But I think you're supposed to move people with something that you create on your own, with your own hands. So I think that's all I have for you, group number 3. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 4. You chose this, the Cook's Tarot, and I will start with some channeling, and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So, okay, group number 4. The people who will choose group number 4, what's their mission here on Earth? What's their life purpose? What are they supposed to do? Okay, so there's something about giving a voice to people who don't have a voice. Being a spokesman. But I think that's for a few of you. It's not all of you, but I think for some of you, it's your mission is to be a spokesman for people who doesn't have a voice. But I'm also getting that there's like a majority of you where your mission is to work with children, because children don't have a voice, like they can't speak up for themselves, and so or they can, but small children, they need someone, of course, to speak for them, and so speak on their behalf, and they need so, like, I am getting also that some of you, your mission is to care for children, and also be some kind of advocate for children, maybe as a caregiver for children, like working with children where you have to speak on their behalf to the parents, for instance, like where you have to be on the child's side, and there's also something about helping children that are in need, like children who come from very difficult environments, children from dysfunctional families, and helping them get a better life. Or so I'm also getting something about social work, working as a social worker, something about children's rights, being an advocate for children's rights, making sure that children are being taken care of, maybe especially in dysfunctional families. But I'm also getting something about animals as well. But this is only a few of you, I think. But I think a few of you might, and you already know who you are, because I think you already have a big passion for animals. And so those of you who already have that, I think your purpose is to give animals a voice, like being an advocate for animals and advocating their rights, animal rights, speaking on the animals' behalf and making and sticking up for the animals so that they get treated fairly. But yeah, I'm getting that, like, the common denominator for the whole group is speaking for people who or animals or who don't have a voice, like giving a voice to others who don't have a voice, and sticking up, standing up for either children or animals, or some or equal rights between or some. There could also be some kind of cause here where your mission might be to be a spokesman for people who are being treated unfairly, but who doesn't but who isn't in a position where they can speak up for themselves. So that could be something like that could be equal rights between I am getting something about either like Black Lives Matter or also equal rights between the genders, or also homeless people, like giving them a voice, speaking on the behalf of like the of the needy. I am getting that there is something about fighting for fairness, for justice, fighting for justice. Yeah. I think your mission is to fight for justice, make sure that try to stop some kind of injustice that is happening either towards black people or towards women or towards or towards children in dysfunctional families who doesn't give who aren't given the same opportunities as others, or like and also for animals, like fighting for maybe not stopping the testing of animals or something, or testing on animals. I mean, so there is some kind of I think you are supposed to do something where you create justice, where you stop some kind of injustice that's happening in the world right now. So it's an important mission. It is kind of a political one, I think. It's you are supposed to like change something about society, something about the way we do things, maybe something where we've been doing something for many, many years, and it's just something that we consider way of life, like something that something that's very like, yeah, I think you're supposed to change something that maybe also like I don't know, but there could also be something about the environment. I don't know, but Four of Wands, I think your mission is to gather people, gather like-minded people together, like getting people together, not necessarily just not necessarily like-minded people, but I am just thinking that you need to get people, that your mission is to get to also get people to come together for some kind of cause, where maybe you need to be the first mover in some way, where you start something, where you're the leader, where you get a group of people together to fight some kind of cause. So maybe maybe your mission is to start some kind of organization, or some kind of fund, or some kind of program for children from dysfunctional families, so that they can get the same opportunities as people from functional families, or creating some kind of even a political party, like maybe that's only for a few of you, but like, or one of you, but I think there could be one of you where your mission is to start your own party, like political party, or just a movement, some kind of movement towards justice, or I'm also getting something about starting your own school. And again, that might be only for one of you, where I think your mission is to open your own kind of school, where maybe maybe some of you are very much interested in child psychology and changing the way we raise children, and the way maybe you have some kind of, maybe you have an opinion on how the school system works right now, where you believe that there is some injustice being done in the school system right now, where people are where some children are getting favored over others, or that people are not having the same opportunities, like that they aren't getting the same out of the education. Like some people are losers and some people are winners in this school system game. Like there, and maybe you will get an idea in the future, or maybe you already have that, but of creating some kind of school that is that has a completely different way of teaching children, like a completely new way of teaching children, where the children get it's some kind of, I don't know, a more inclusive way of teaching, or where where I come from in Denmark, we have schools that are like free. It's called free schools, where those are different from the normal school, in the way that it's more based on teaching people on different in different ages, like having people who are having older students help the younger students, so that like everyone is helping each other. The older children are helping the smaller children. Everyone is just are just like helping each other. And I don't know if like, but you might create some kind of concept like that in the future, that is where it's more about helping each other out, and being like and not this individualistic way of looking at children that we do have now, like this idea of the school system being a race, where everyone is an individual player in the game, where everyone is trying to win the game, and it's like this competition where everyone is competing against each other. Then I think it's very important that we try to find different solutions, that maybe and maybe creating concepts for schools that are not about competing against each other, but about helping each other build something together, instead of everyone building their own thing. Like and so yeah. I think your mission is to change something. That could be the school system, but it could also be some kind of other injustice that is being that is being done right now. But yeah. Also with the Four of Wands, I am getting that there could be something about helping people who don't have enough food, like creating some kind of like going together like as a group and collecting food to the needy, like to give to the needy. Like there could also be something like that, where you help those in need of food, or shelter, or some kind of basic need in where you can provide that for them in some way. What is group number 4's mission here on Earth? Yeah, sharing food. Taking also there is kind of this Robin Hood thing I'm thinking of, like taking from the rich and giving it to the poor, because like this in this picture here there is someone who's taking the whole cake for themselves, and these in the background they don't have any cake on their plates, and so it's kind of I think your mission is to try to eliminate greediness, and like trying to get fundings from people who have a lot of money and giving it to people who don't, and like trying to give, but maybe also trying to change the system and making the system more where you tax, give the rich people taxes so that they contribute to, like, with, so that I don't know, but like trying to make try to create equality, also financial equality, where trying to expand the middle class or whatever, like making it so that there isn't, like, I don't know, that's something I don't know enough about to talk about it, but maybe you do. The economy is, and the politics surrounding economy is not something I know a lot about. So, but yeah. But I think you have a mission to create equality, to fight for justice, and yeah, I guess that's kind of all I have for you. Group number 4, and I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye! Hello, group number 5. You chose this Tarot of Mermaids tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling and then I will shuffle the cards. So group number 5. What's group number 5's mission here on Earth? Okay, so I am getting something about teaching people boundaries. So I think your mission might be to be a therapist of some kind, like counseling people or helping people through either psychotherapy or through couples therapy or something, where I think your mission is to help people discover things about themselves, or help building people up, help people set boundaries for themselves, but also helping people find their own self-worth and like self-development, self-discovery, working with the self, like working to become in true alignment with your own self, like helping other people get in true alignment with their own self as well. Like some of you might be your mission to write some kind of self-help book or something that will help a lot of people help themselves. Like so I think you are supposed to you're supposed to help people through therapy or through counseling. I think that's kind of what I'm getting at, but also helping people heal from trauma, or helping people who have been in abusive relationships or something like that. Helping women who in crisis centers or something like that, where but also just helping people in general, not necessarily just women, but helping people set boundaries for themselves, but also helping people discover themselves after a traumatic experience, like helping people rediscover themselves, getting back to who they were before that happened, like helping them heal what happened, so that or finding their self-worth again after going through some kind of traumatic experience. so yeah, maybe also working with people who have had traumas, but also maybe childhood trauma, helping people go through their childhood and find out the root to some of their issues, or yeah. I think you're just supposed to make to help people through like self-discovery. But let's shuffle the cards and see what your mission here on Earth is. Group number 5. I am getting something about you. There is 2 things. Like I think you have 2 missions here on Earth. Like the one mission is that you need to help others through therapy, through counseling, through talking about their childhood or their experiences, and helping people that way. But I think there is also another mission here or another path for you. Like I think you have 2 life purposes. The one is to help people discover their true self, but the other is maybe one that you're more passionate about. Like I think you have a passion for something that's not about self-help or self-discovery. I think you're really good at I think you have a really good understanding of the human mind. I think you're really good at like you understand how you understand people's reactions. You understand how some things can lead to something else, like how something from the childhood can manifest itself and become like an issue in people's adulthood. And like I think you have just a very deep understanding of psychology in general, and so you're very equipped to helping people help themselves, and so you have a talent for it, and so you would be really good at it if you went that path and made it into a career for you to counsel people or to have therapy sessions with people, and especially like something like group therapy as well. Like, but I think you have a different passion, and I think you need to make room for that as well. So and I think that could be something like writing. Maybe you have an idea for a book or something, and I think you should make room for that too, because that's also your mission here on Earth, is to do what you're passionate about, and if that's writing, then I think you should do that. So I think it's you can't do both these things like simultaneously. So the one thing doesn't have to I don't know, eliminate the other thing. Like they can coexist. So I don't know, but with the Queen of Swords and the Hermit here, I am getting, I'm getting that there is a bit of a conflict here, because in one way you want to be the hermit, you want to be isolated, not isolated, but you want to withdraw from the world and do something like writing, where you are the only one doing it, like you're just you and your computer or your notebook or whatever, where you're writing alone on your own, and you're just you and the book that you're writing. And then there is this Queen of Swords with this, which is the Queen of Communication, and so there's also this need of talking to other people and doing that through counseling or therapy, but also just to, I think you because you have that great understanding of the human mind, I think you are also very curious about it, and so talking to other people is also something that you're quite curious about. Like you're curious of getting to know people and understanding people on a deeper level, and so like there is this need of bonding with other people, but also a need of being this hermit and being so it's like you're behind the scenes, but you also want to be in front of the scenes. It's or on the scene, like it's there is some kind of contradiction here, where I think you have two missions that are kind of contradicting each other, either in this way where the one mission is like to be with people, helping people, and the other mission is to be alone, writing something alone in your own room and being away from society, withdrawn from the world. And this kind of reminds me of the moon in the 12th house or something, where I read about that placement in the natal chart. If you have like the 12th, the moon in the 12th house, I don't even know if that's possible. Like, but like, yes, it is. But I don't know if I'm saying it correctly though. But it doesn't matter. If you have that, then maybe that could be the explanation, because that's kind of this that gives you this constant need of being out in the world and then withdrawing, like being, and it creates these cycles where like half a year you're in a way half of the year you're an extrovert, and then the other half of the year you're an introvert, and then it's swift, and then it's like a cycle that keeps repeating itself, where you are out in the world, and then you withdraw, and then out, and then withdraw, and like so this also makes me think that maybe some of you have a moon sign that could be like an air sign, and then a sun sign that could be an earth sign, and so you have this I don't know, but there could be some kind, like, I think you have these two sides of you as well, like where you have two talents that where you, this could also be like some of you might have this a bit of a contradictory personality in a way, where you're maybe very shy, and or maybe you have social anxiety or something, but you also have this curiosity for people, and you really want to go out and talk to people, you really want to get to know people, you really get excited about having conversations with strangers, and like it really fascinates you to talk to new people and stuff like that, but you might be too shy to do it, so you feel like there might be it really attracts you a lot, but it also, there's this barrier that you can't really cross, like you want to but you can't, and so I think your mission here on Earth could also be to overcome this, where you overcome some of your own, the boundaries that you've maybe, oh, okay, so maybe you also have, maybe your mission is to eliminate some of the boundaries that you have, like you might have some barrier that keeps you away from doing your mission, like or doing what you are talented at, or what you are excited about, or what you're doing, like something that you really want to do, and maybe that is to talk to people and socializing and networking, and or just to be a therapist or be a counselor, and really digging into the minds of others, but you can't really get there because your social anxiety makes you feel like, oh, that's not that's going to be difficult to do, and maybe you're also an introvert, so the thought of, like, even though the thought of talking to people like for 8 or 9 hours straight might sound like something that you're curious about, like it sounds exciting, but it might also sound very exhausting, because you're an introvert, and like you feel like, oh, but you really want to talk to people, but it also drains your energy to talk to people, so it's like, oh, that's what you want to do, but it's hard for you. So I think your mission might be to overcome this, to try to break down this barrier, and maybe to also find a cure to your own social anxiety, so that you may help others with social anxiety get over their social anxiety as well. And so maybe you've been given this social anxiety as like an obstacle that you have to overcome, so that you can teach others how to overcome social anxiety as well. Like and. and so like I said in the beginning, like that your mission is to help people set boundaries, and I think that's also true for some of you. But I think for others of you, I think your mission is to help people overcome the boundaries that they have due to anxiety, due to something where they have created or they have been given these boundaries. Like I don't think we create these boundaries when we have social anxiety. I don't think it's something we are necessarily in control over. Like in the development of it, I don't think we make ourselves anxious on purpose. But I don't know. But maybe helping people get rid of those barriers and start seeing, maybe also start seeing it as like, not as like an, I don't know, but something about, breaking down barriers. Like mental barriers. So, what is group number 5's mission here on Earth? Judgment. So, I think you're also, like, I think your mission is to help people to, when I think of judgment, I also think of rebirth, being born anew, and like transformation, where you transform yourself through self-discovery, through changing your but also, like, so I think your mission is to help people get reborn, like in this lifetime, of course, but not after their death, but like now, like getting like starting a new chapter in life, where and leaving their old self behind, like getting baptized, like getting rid of the old and like start and becoming like a new person, like a new version of yourself, and starting a new life, maybe for people who have been through trauma, or people who have been through something difficult. So what else is group number 5's mission here on Earth? Is there more? Oh, okay. So, Knight of Swords, but this card fell to the floor, and so whenever a card falls to the floor, I kind of interpret it as something that you need to drop, something that needs to be left behind in some way, and that is the Knight of Swords. And well, the Knight of Swords kind of it's a card that I have associated with rape in the past. but it doesn't have to have. That's kind of the association I have right now of this card, but it could be different things. But I think your mission is also to help people. Maybe help people get past, like, if they've had a traumatic experience like rape, to get rid of that, to help people get rid of that memory, or not get rid of it, but to kind of close it off, in maybe helping people with PTSD as well. Helping people helping people with PTSD so that the trauma from the past doesn't affect them in their everyday life. So something like that as well. But I think that's all I have for you, group number 5. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 6. You chose the Wonderland Tarot tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling, and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So, okay, group number 6. The people who will choose group number 6. What is group number 6? What's group number 6 mission here on Earth? I am getting something interesting here. It's like some of you your mission is to compare something, like compare two things, like putting them back to back, to find similarities between two things, like finding the common denominator between two things that are very that look very different, but actually when you put them back to back, they are actually quite similar. And I know that's very cryptic, and I don't really understand this either. Like I don't really know what is being referred to, but it's like you're supposed to make some kind of comparison that has never been done before. Taking two things that are uncomparable and comparing them, and by doing that, actually discovering something very interesting. This kind of makes me think of like a big discovery, like it could be like a scientific discovery where by looking at the similarities between two things that are very different from each other, will somehow unlock the key to understanding something. But I think your mission here is to do something that no one has done before. But it's not necessarily an invention. Like it's not something new. It's something that it's a discovery by taking two things that are already known to the world, but by putting them back to back, and by doing that, making us understand something. But it could also be some kind of scientific discovery by blending two things that have never been blended before, and creating something new in that mixture. But like it could also like if it's not like some kind of great discovery that will change the world, then it could be something like blending some kind of like alcoholic drink. Like the person who created the person who created the mojito, or I can't really think of like, but one of the, like, even though it's like it's not a groundbreaking discovery, or it's not a groundbreaking invention to invent a drink, but the person who, like, the mojito is known all over the world, and so it's still like an invention that is very, like, it's very widespread. So maybe you will like create a drink that will be known internationally and will, like, maybe mixing two or three different like things that are like that have never been mixed before, and create some kind of drink that is like really good and becomes really popular in the future. Or maybe like it's also like we don't have like many of the inventions, like many of the inventions of like drinks and also, but also food, like we don't invent a lot of dishes nowadays. Like most of the dishes that we eat like now, like most of those were invented a long time ago, like the pizza and those are all inventions that were invented by one person once, like a long, and it's like it's still a great invention, like even though, like, so maybe you will invent something like that, where you will like put something together that will taste really good, and then it will become internationally known in the future, and will be eaten or drunk by a lot of people in the future. Like but I also think like there are some of you, like if you are currently in the field of science and you are studying chemistry or studying physics, then I think there is a possibility that you will discover something new by either blending two things that have never been blended before, or by putting two things back to back and analyzing them and comparing them, and by comparing them and finding similarities between them can create something, some kind of hybrid out of that, where you take the similarities and only the similarities and build on only the similarities and take or extract those the things that are similar, extracting that and putting them together and creating something different from that or something. But also by just analyzing, maybe this could also be some kind of comparison in the field of arts, like if you are studying philosophy, not necessarily, but if you're studying English or studying literature or something like that, where you can maybe write a very great paper on comparing like literature, comparing some kind of book, like some book from the and making some kind of comparison either to another book, like comparing two different books, and or some, I don't know, like yeah, maybe yeah, some kind of comparison, maybe also like taking like comparing a TV show to a book, or taking something from, or taking like a modern day like pop culture, something from pop culture today, and then maybe a popular show that's on TV today, taking that and see if you can compare it to like an old Shakespeare play or something like that. I know that might sound a bit but a bit cringy, but maybe doing that can, like, where you can like find the common denominator or find things that are similar, where you can see that maybe how old, like how Shakespeare and like old literature still to this day has an effect on art or something. But I think like you will do something like that no one has done before. Like you will do you will do something unique, I think. So with the Hermit here, I think your mission is to well, there is something about introspection as well, something about diving into the human mind, diving into the depth of the human mind, diving into existential dread, or existentialism. There could be something about a paper, like I said before, about maybe writing some kind of paper on existentialism, and maybe also how it has affected pop culture. But maybe not. I don't know. There's also something here. Okay, it's kind of far-fetched, but there could be something about about like finding existentialism in children's TV shows, like finding how you can see how existentialism has changed has like changed the course of children's shows, but also just children's literature. How the existential philosophy movement might have had an impact on how we raise children, and you can then use children's literature as like examples of on that in some way, where you can maybe take some children's literature from before the existential philosophy. Of course, that's that would go way back, because of course existentialism has been there since since the 1700 or 1800, but so you could find some fairy tales from before that, but maybe more the French existential philosophy that started in France, the one with Camus, Albert Camus, and with Sartre, seeing how that may have changed children's literature. I don't know, though. I'm just talking. I don't know if that even makes sense, but there might be some. I think your mission is to do some kind of some kind of discovery or comparison that no one has thought of before. Writing something about, doing some kind of study on something that no one has done a study on before, or with a seven of wands reversed, I think your mission you have some kind of mission in that has to do with changing the way we there is something about questioning the way we think about things, or questioning the norm, or taking something that is very is something that's mundane, something that is an everyday thing, like something that is very instinctive in people, like something, and then bending it, and like bending people's understanding of something that is very rooted inside them, as like just changing people's perception on something. There might be something where you need to have some kind of controversial opinion and voice that controversial opinion, even though it might make you a bit unpopular. But there's also something about questioning individualism. Maybe trying to change individualism and trying to make us like there is something about connecting people and making people realize that they are all connected, or that we are all intertwined in each other's lives. We all have each other's lives in our hands, in our palm. Like we can, like, there is something scary about the human race in the way that, like, we all have each other's fate in our palm. Like we can change another person's fate if we wanted to, and there's something very fragile about life because of this, because of the fact that we can actually end each other's lives prematurely, and we can change the course of each other's lives without them having a say in it, and so other people also have that, like it's kind of, so this individualistic way that we think of life today, where everyone is just where everyone just lives for themselves, and everyone is just focused on their own personal goal and reaching that own personal goal, and everyone is just living their personal life without thinking of others, and it just it doesn't really make sense, because it doesn't take that into account, that we are intertwined. We can't. We have each other's fate in our hands. Like we can have this whole plan planned out in our head, that we want this goal and we want to reach it, but unless we as a whole work together, then like we can't really make that plan, because tomorrow some guy might stab me, like, and not because we have to, but that's kind of the, I don't know if this makes sense, or if it's just like, but but unless we all live for each other, like unless we start living as a group, where we see each other as like a part of the group, where we are all a group, where everyone is helping everyone, and we are all a part of each other's lives. Until then, we can't be like separate islands, because we are people need to be involved in each other's lives, because if we are like it, I don't know, this is a rant for another day. I think like I don't really know what to say about this. Like I need to think more about it, and I'm also like low on energy right now, because it's been a long video until now, but like I think your mission here is to kind of bring people more together than separating people, like, and like that we need to come together as a group and work together, and not as an individual, but as a part of something greater, and I think your mission is to make people aware of how intertwined we are, how much we are all connected, and how we all have an impact in each other's lives. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but like in Harry Potter, where there is like this rule where like you can use the magic to kill people, but there's this rule that we don't do that, because that's bad magic, and that's not something we practice. So we have all made an understanding, like a collective decision to never use that spell on other people. And then of course there are these outcasts who go against the group and just say, well, but we want to use this spell, so we are going to do it anyways. And so I don't know where I was going with that, but when we all we all need to realize that everyone has that spell. Like every human being has a spell that will kill another human being, and the only way to kind of get to kind of cope with that is to start trusting each other enough to just trust that no one will actually use that spell. And we can make it. It's not impossible to make a society where no one uses the spell, where everyone just trusts each other enough to not use it, because it's unfair to use it, because it's a very, very powerful spell that that is a trick. Like it's cheating. It's the one using it is cheating, and I don't know where I'm going with this, and I'm so sorry that I'm just on a rant here about something that I don't even know what my point is, but I'm sorry, but but I guess I just we all might, like, we all have to just like, I think it would be like we need to all realize that the spell can be used against us. Like, I know I keep using that spell metaphor, but that if everyone who's doing bad things, like evil things, like if that everyone who does evil things know that people can also do evil things to them, that's kind of the whole thing. That of course no one wants to use a spell that kills someone, because if they start doing that, they start opening up, like, the opportunity for others to use the spell against them too. And so it's just that, like, I don't know, but a way to make other people not want to harm us is to befriend others and start trusting people, being friends with others, making other people like us enough to actually want good things for us. And so that kind of thing where it's actually maybe the best weapon to live in this world is to be kind to everyone, so that people won't harm us. Of course, that doesn't really work, but it also goes against this whole idea of everyone being individualistic and everyone just living for themselves and just also, I don't know, whatever. I had no idea what I was talking about. I'm sorry. But okay, King of Flamingos reversed. This is King of Swords reversed. So there's also a mission of King. There is something about helping people with helping the small people, not the small, like, but like metaphorically helping. So this could also be about helping children, changing something about child psychology, changing the way that we raise children, changing the way we see children, how maybe also changing something about the school system, to make the school system more, or change it so that it becomes less individualistic, less competitive, but where it's more focused on lifting as a group, like being and working together as a group instead of as just an individual. And something about socialism as well. I don't know. But that's all I have for you. This was a long reading, and it was very sorry about that. But I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 7. You chose this tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling, and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So, okay, group number 7. What's group number 7's mission here on Earth? I am getting something about performing or being in the spotlight. I think you are supposed to be seen. I am also getting kind of this lucky energy here, where I think like you will do something where you end up in the public eye, but you will be competing against a lot of people, and you will be like one of the fortunate ones who actually make it. So I am getting something about performing, maybe something like doing YouTube videos or having some kind of social media platform. I'm also getting something about bodybuilding, but I don't think that's I don't think that's for the majority of you. I think there are maybe a few of you who could end up in the public eye because of bodybuilding, but it's very few of you, a select few of you. But I am getting that your mission is to be some kind of public figure where other people look up to you, or where you have some kind of influence over other people. Maybe like an influencer. I know that's kind of a cringy word, but if this doesn't resonate with you, I'm just getting that I think you will have some kind of platform in the future where you will be able to speak in front of people, where you can inspire people. Or you can use your influence to bring out some kind of message. But I'm also getting something about leading by example, like being a good example for others, being a role model to others. Being like an inspiration to others. I am getting some admiration here, that you will have admiration from other people for something that you will do in the future. And other people will try to do the same as you, or go through, or take the same path as you. but let's shuffle and see what your mission here on Earth is. Group number 7. Okay, so with the Eight of Pentacles and 9 of Pentacles, okay, so, well, okay, this kind of tells us a story, okay, yeah, it's very, okay, so, here, you can see that these two people are having sex. Here, this lady is pregnant, and here she gives birth. And so, okay, yeah, I guess your mission here on Earth, like the biggest mission you have here on Earth, seems to be giving birth. Or if you're a male, then yeah, just having children, but also as a female, having children. So I think procreation, and yeah, so being a mother or a father, being a parent, and being a role model, as I said before, like being maybe if you're not supposed to be an influencer or have some kind of platform where you are a role model to a lot of people, then maybe you're just supposed to be a role model for your children, which is also a very important mission. It's the most important mission we have, really, is to have children and be a role model to them and make sure that they are equipped for life. And yeah. So yeah, I think you can still do both, though. Like, you can still be a role model to both your children, but also to other people as well. There's also something about teaching here, where I think, or like if you want to know what your career path, like what a good career path for you would be, then I think something like teaching or guidance counseling could be a good thing. Like, but I think I don't think your career will be your first priority in the future. I think your family will be your first priority, and that will be your mission, like the first priority mission. and I think your career will not be your mission. I think your career will be more like a side mission. Maybe some of you will do something like YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or something like that, maybe in order to, like, maybe you do it or will do it in the future, or maybe you're already doing it right now, but maybe it's something that you're doing maybe subconsciously or consciously, I don't know, but maybe it's because you want to be able to work from home. You want to be able to have children and have a family where you don't have to go to work, where you can work from home by doing YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or something. So maybe that's not your calling. Like, maybe having a presence on social media is not your calling. Maybe it's not your mission here on earth, but it's something that might help you help you with the right mission, the real mission here on earth, which is forming a family, procreation, having children, caring for your children, and doing it in a way where you have time for them and where you don't have to leave them to go to work and stuff like that. And I get that. So with this card here, it's like a turtle and a dragon, and they are kind of in this fight. So there is this I think there is a kind of, I think you have a, oh, okay. So here is like this this fairy or whatever is like here in the picture, and it kind of makes me think of the uterus. It kind of looks like a uterus, like with egg leaders here, like, I don't know, but so I still feel like your mission is to give birth to another generation, and maybe it is your only or the most important mission, because maybe the children that you will give birth to, they might have a mission that is very important, and so your mission is to give your children the best life possible, so that they are equipped for an even bigger mission. So maybe you don't actually have that big of a mission here on earth. Like, I know I hate to say this, like, it's, but maybe you're not supposed to do something groundbreaking. Maybe you're not supposed to like, maybe that's not your mission. Maybe your mission is to care for your children who will have a bigger mission. And so I think there is a good possibility, like, it's very likely that one of your children in the future will have a very great impact on the world. That I am kind of like I am getting like this picture of the Virgin Mary and like Jesus, like that you're more the Virgin Mary than the Jesus, like you're supposed to be the mother of someone who will have a great mission here on earth. Like but you're still like a very important figure. Like the Virgin Mary is a very important figure, and she had a great role, but it was of course the son that was the one that changed the world. But she changed the world by default by being the mother. And so, if that makes sense. So I think your mission is to give birth to someone who has a much greater mission than you do. And so, but that's still very important. So I think so and that's kind of exciting it's exciting to have to know that like your child will do something great. Like, and I am like kind of like thinking of like of someone who will very likely be like internationally famous for something, someone who will start something new, something someone a bit like Jesus, but maybe on a bit of on a smaller scale, but still someone who will have like a great impact, and it will be because of you. Like you will create them, and you will you will give them a great upbringing, and it will be because of your upbringing that they will be able to do the things that they are going to do in the future. And so I think like your mission is to be a good parent, and that's so that's all I have for you, group number 7. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye.